This is Chapter 1, Lesson 2. We're going to be talking about ratios. Well, we already know a type of ratio. One type of ratio we are familiar with is the ratio that looks like this, 1/3. A fraction is a form of a ratio. So when I see 1/3, I know that's a ratio. Now there's two other ways we can write a ratio. I can write it as 1, 2, 3, using the word 2 in between them. And I also can write it as 1 with those two dots in between. All of these tell me that I have 1 out of 3 items. So my ratio is 1:3. All of these are acceptable. We are probably most familiar with the fraction form, but all of those would be acceptable to write.
Hey guys, the code for today is Mrs. Hanson. Have a great day.
You can follow along with me on page 20. This is letter A. We are to write the ratio in simplest form that compares the number of suns to the number of moons, and then explain its meaning. Now, whenever we have numbers of suns to number of moons, that's the order of the number we need to put it into. So since they said suns first, we need to count the suns first. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 suns. And then remember it said to moons. So I can write it like that. I can write it like this. Or I can write it like this. How many moons are there? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 moons. And again, remember you can write it any of these ways. 4/6, 4/6, or the 4 and the 2 periods and then 6. Now it also said to write it in simplest form. Well, that's the same as when we simplify fractions. So what can go into 4 and 6? Well, I can divide both 4 and 6 by 2, leaving me with 2/3. So my ratio in simplest form would be 2/3, 2, 2, 3, or 2, the dots and 3. Remember, it's whatever way you would like to do. When it says explain its meaning, what we want you to say is, for every 2 suns, there are 3 moons. So for each of these problems, it's going to have you explain its meaning, and that's what we are looking for. You can follow along with me on page 21. This is letter B. A pet store sold the animals listed in the table in 1 week. Write the ratio of cats to pets sold that week. Well, to make it a little bit easier, we want cats to pets sold. So we know there are 8 cats. And how many pets? Well, we're going to need to add 10 plus 14 plus 8. When I do that, I get 32. So my ratio would be 8/32. Remember, we want to write it in our simplest form. So how can I simplify 8/32? Well, 8 can actually go into both of those. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 32 divided by 8 is 4. So my ratio is 1/4. Remember, if you wrote it like this, or like this, 1, 2, 4 that way, that is also correct. I just stuck with a fraction for this problem. Now we need to explain its meaning. So my explanation would be, for every cat, or 1 cat, there are 4 pets sold.